All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning today. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing better than most people's 401ks this morning. How
Oh,
about yourself?
I'm doing
SPY's
better.
off a little bit.
Yeah,
SPY's almost down 1%.
I'm doing better than that is too. So we'll get into that also. Yeah, nice little drop there. So we'll see what's happening there. So guys, if you're joining us for the first time or just if you need a refresher, let's go to our rundown. So our rundown today is we're going to go over the top plays and highlights from yesterday. Here's my watch list. A little bigger than what I wanted, but I only watched a few stocks on here. We'll go through those. And then we'll go over the market pulse. Norm will give us an update on what the SPY is doing, some important news happening today, or any notable earnings going on. Then we'll start building our pre-market watch list, go over our gappers list, NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers, see what you guys have on your end, shoot those over to us and we'll look at them. Then we'll do announcements and then we'll finalize the list, find some levels of support and resistance. And then we'll wrap it up. Maybe take if we have some time, take a few questions or not. But this gappers list looks pretty big today, so we got our work cut out for us to see what's good here and what's not. Also, a lot of red on the board today on this gappers. So let's see what we had yesterday. Let's look at that. Let's look at a VLRX. This is one that actually took off my list on my watch list. I was not watching this one, but I did go back to it later in the mid morning just to see what went on with this one here. And just look at this this drop here, just unreal. Goes from like 525 all the way down to 335. I don't think this for me, it was not shortable. It wasn't short selling restrictions if you did have shares for short. So it was a very difficult stock to get into it. But again, it really traded like crap after this drop. Just kind of selling off here, selling off. Not sure if anybody has shares for short on this one. So she was able to catch an entry here. That was great, but it didn't really give you a pullback. I don't like when stocks sell off like this because at any minute you don't know where that pullback is going to be, and you don't want to be getting in when it's going to get the pullback right to the VWAP. So again, just very, very dangerous there to take a trade in that situation. SE was one that was pretty active, had this beautiful pop here, and then it just sold off after that. Here's the part I like about SE. This beautiful pullback here to the VWAP. That's your signal for the entry to go short for the opening range breakup. We talk about this in class 4. Here's your range, right? You could do two. People do two different ways. Some of them like to include the wicks. Others just like to include the body for the breakout. I do both, but the wicks, when you get a chart like this, it gives you a great entry for a short. Head down towards the low of the day, maybe partial out here, and then hope to get even lower. And it did. It breaks the low of the day. You get this beautiful drop all the way down here. And then what I like about this stock, it was in play really all the entire day. Look at this nice reversal back to VWAP. Not an easy strategy to get, but once you see it stops making a new low here and starts making new higher highs, higher lows, especially on the 5, that's a good signal for entry because your risk to reward is great, right? This is all about the entry. Here's your stop loss, anything slightly below that low of the day. And then if you have your entry within a good risk to reward area here for the VWAP, that's almost a 1 to 4. So beautiful pop. Breaks down, false VWAP breakdown here. Then it actually takes off and just follows these moving averages nicely towards the high of the day. That would have been your target. And then you can see it just continues to head higher. Target was beautiful, and one thing about Target, and Andrew mentioned this yesterday in his recap or in the chat room, but again, look at this pop here. When you see that type of buying pressure, you don't want to go short on this stock like this. Yeah, it does this beautiful drop here, but you can see eventually it just comes down to these moving averages, finds a base, and it continues to just be strong. And Brian talks about this too, being very careful when shorting stocks that open up this strong like that. Look at that volume as well. So again, it has a nasty 5-minute. You don't want to go into this one yet, but it settles in well, and then it turns to a beautiful up trade here, hitting the high of the day and even going further up. CVNA, I actually took this one off. I didn't watch it, so I don't know how the price action was on this one. I forgot to delete it from here. So again, can't really comment on how this traded. Looking at it right now, doesn't look too clean. It looks like it had no volume. But again, I didn't really watch the price action closely on this one. NEO was another one I took off. So these two were actually off my list. Just forgot to delete them from here. Again, I don't recall what the price action was here. But again, this doesn't look clean neither. Doesn't look good at all. JWN, I was watching this one very, very closely. This one actually, again, same thing like Target popped up and it's just kind of sold off. And it just became pretty choppy in this area here. If you look at the 5 minute, again, just kind of chopping around up and down, up and down. And the price action on this one was not clean. I mean, it was really moving, so it's very difficult to take any type of trade here. The 1 minute looks good. If you took it right close to VWAP, you can easily write this down. It comes back to test VWAP, never cracks it. So it goes into a nice little downtrend. But again, if you look at the 5, which I like to trade off, it was not clean at all. QCOM, on the other hand, QCOM was, again, we know QCOM could be very, very choppy, but the pre-market action was great, was beautiful, had a nice double bottom here, creating some nice waves. Same thing like Target and the JWN, just pops up and then just sells right back down. Then it turns into this chop here. Eventually sells below VWAP. Here you can see this is a nice signal to go short, because once you see that and it comes below VWAP, that's a good indication that the stock is weak. So this could be a great entry to get towards the low of the day, and then you can see on here it just continues to drop even further than the low of the day at that time. PSTG was another one that was really good, but this one you couldn't take at the open. At the open, which is very choppy, I was watching this price action. It just kind of lost momentum. It just got stuck within this range between going back and forth, down and above the VWAP. And then eventually, if slowly just started just dropping here nicely, leaving the VWAP, hits the low of the day. Then from there, by the time I saw it, was too late to take an entry. I saw it around this area. I already knew that I already had missed the move. Although it continues to sell off nicely, you could have gotten probably another 40 cents out of this. The risk to reward for me was not great, so did not take that trade. S was actually not on my list. Yeah, somebody else pointed this out, so I just put it on there. This was not in play at all. So that's what we had yesterday, guys. Let's look at let's get into the market pulse and then see what Norm has for us today on either earnings, any notable news, and what's going on with the SPY.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about the last few days, SPY's just kind of in that consolidation range between, let's call it 181 and 294-ish, which was the all-time high that it set a few weeks ago. Down about 0.75% at the moment. It was down more than this, but it's just started popping in the last few minutes. Jobless claims came in at about 8 minutes ago, so that gave it a little bit of a boost, but I'm not quite sure what's given this last little pop right here to it. If you pull up the SPY daily there, you can see it looks like the 20 is about to cross the 50, or it did cross yesterday, I guess. So, we play those in day trading all the time. Moving average crosses, you can see time and time again, or at least I do. It's not necessarily something that Andrew teaches, and it's not a surefire strategy, but it's one more piece of confirmation on a move. And a lot of times around big moving average crosses, you'll see some significant movement in the direction of that cross. And I think that's part of what we're seeing today. So it'll be interesting. There's really heavy volume coming into the SPY right now. So I don't know if anybody sees, I don't know, maybe the president tweeted, maybe there was something that happened, but just right now, trade war stuff is really the biggest concern. Yesterday or the day before, they were, kind of news came out that talks had essentially ceased for the moment. And nobody had any plans to go to China, and China didn't have any plans to come here for further negotiations. So the stalemate and the realization that this might be a lot longer of a situation that people had thought is kind of kicking the market to the curb right now. So there's, several company earnings seasons kind of waning at this point. There's a few things that came out this morning. And a couple are on the gappers. Best Buy is it now? Best Buy finally popped up. So it's one of the L brands, Best Buy. So we'll go through those. I had that on my list before it popped up. So it's kind of the rundown for right now, and we'll get into these individually as we go through. A lot of these that you're going to see, like PDD, Weibo, WB down there at the very bottom. Baba, that's all mostly trade news stuff. Weibo did report earnings, and we can dive into that when you look at it. And then the semiconductors, TSM, STM, QCOM, of course, had it. Not only does it have the tech / semiconductor issues, it also, had the judgment against it in federal court for an antitrust violation. So that's hitting that one. But there's kind of a couple of segments that are getting hit real hard right now. So, go ahead and we'll jump in and pick them apart one at a time when you go through the list, Carlos.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, let's get into it. So let's start with the top. Again, a lot of red on this list today. My pen is acting up a bit here. All right, here we go. So let's start with LB on here. Just no one was just saying now we're up 9.3 on this one. Not much volume, just barely cracking 100,000 here, 117 at the moment. Pre-market action looks a little bit light, but again, this is just due to not having great volume right now. So let's see if that continues to develop. Daily chart looks okay. I do like this daily chart. Has a nice flow to it. We see like we found some kind of base here. We're bouncing up, gapping up 9.3 today. So that's nice. So yeah, we'll take a look at that one. Next we have go ahead.
They reported earnings this morning or excuse me, last night, and it's not a very heavily traded stock. LB can be kind of hard to trade. They've been in some significant decline recently. Their Bath and Body Works division just knocked it out of the park apparently and made up for Victoria's Secret's loss. Nice. So the analysts were expecting like literally flat zero earnings, and they beat that fairly significantly, and it was all thanks to the Bath and Body Works stuff. So anyway, that's kind of the story on that. We'll see what happens. It could be interesting because it's been in a long downtrend from 38 since about November.
Yeah, you're right. Had a huge drop also in December here. Never really recovered from that. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what goes on there. Next we have BBY. So right now their volume 107,000 shares traded. They're up 1.7. One of the few stocks that are up this morning. Pre-market action looks a little bit all over the place again, just barely cracking 100,000 at the moment. So hopefully we can get more volume out of this one. Looking at the daily chart, we definitely have a few levels on here. I'm just gonna remove all of these and get some fresh ones. Norm, so on this one, kind of same thing was mentioned earlier, right? Anything else in addition to specifically Best Buy?
Yeah, Best Buy had they beat earnings, they beat revenues. I think that they raised their guidance or held steady on it too. So same deal. I mean, this goes back a long way with Amazon killing brick and mortar retail, and they've kind of been in a decent uptrend in the last they bottomed out. They've been following the market pretty well, but there was a couple of years ago when it was in doubt if they were ever going to be able to survive, and they've actually somehow managed to do so and gain some strength recently. So that's what's going on there.
Excellent. And next on here we have Snap. Snap is one of those stocks that I don't like personally to trade. It could be very choppy. It doesn't move much neither. I think the ATR is extremely low, but they're down today 2.4. Let's look at pre-market action. Looks horrible. They have 100,000 shares traded, but again, it all seems to be just on a few block trades or so. So again, just nothing exciting here on Snap. I'm not even going to add it unless it gets any better. Next we have Baba. Let's look at this one. Baba is down 2.4. Again, just kind of on some general news here. 814,000 shares traded at the moment. Daily chart is interesting. Got a nice little drop here on the daily. So again, just been kind of losing it overall. Although the SPY has not been losing it like this, Baba just seems to be on highway to hell, kind of like Tesla. Can't wait to get into that one. I mean, that one is, can you believe it's trading at $186 today? I mean, that's just insane. So any specific news on Baba other than just trading with the market, Norm?
I think this is mostly technical, frankly. I have not seen a whole lot other than it's the Huawei situation. It's just nasty trade talks kind of stuff going on. I haven't seen any more specific news, but if I find something, I'll chime in.
Excellent. PDD's on here and down. Go ahead.
Baba did break the 200-day moving average a couple of days ago, and now it looks like it's trying to lose that. So I think that's probably a lot of what's causing this. If you look right there when it broke that 200-day, and then it even came back and retested that, and then it just let loose yesterday and is gapping down this morning. So that looks like it's the vast majority of that's just a technical break, really.
Makes perfect sense. PDD here down 2.6, 165,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market action though looks horrible. Again, not great at all. We'll keep it on here to see if it gets better, but most likely we would drop this one. Just this pre-market action here is just not great. So on PDD, what do we have in regards to news?
PDD, same China stuff. They reported earnings 3 days ago, and they gapped down on that news Monday or Tuesday. So once again, it's a lot of the trade talk in China. That's what a lot of this stuff is, but it's also kind of looking like it might have a technical breakdown from a channel.
Yeah, I'm seeing the last level they broke here looked to be significant around this area here, right where the price action is now. They broke one before as well. So yeah, it's just a lot of technical damage being done here, losing some of these good levels. But right now, again, PDD is just not having a great pre-market action. It's got some okay volume, 165, but not creating anything exciting at the moment. Next we have QCOM. Again, QCOM is another one that's just very difficult to trade. I saw some comments from you guys saying you're never trading it again. It is that type of stock. It's just not clean. Although yesterday the spread was pretty tight yesterday, which is rare to see on this stock. Usually the spread on QCOM when we were trading it and looking at during this this time frame, the spread was horrible. But yesterday seemed to be pretty tight, so that's always a good thing for us. Right now, down 2.7, 201,000 shares traded. And again, just the pre-market action not looking clean and not one stock that we really, that I personally like to trade. Norm, I don't know if you had any success trading QCOM, neither.
On that, I traded it a little bit on that big gap up day when the Apple settlement came in mid-April.
Yep.
And maybe the day after that. But other than that, I haven't touched it. Like you said, a lot of times the spread's kind of nasty and it can chop you up. Overall, the semiconductor stocks have really been hit. They were on a run since December, and they've just paused kind of in the middle of their tracks. A lot of it's on the trade tensions and 5G stuff, Huawei. So I think they're just pausing to see, because that semiconductors are largely a leading indicator of what's going on in the market. If you go back and you look, semiconductor stocks were on fire in 2017. And just so you can look at the SMH or SOXX, try SOXX. And if you go to a daily and go back a couple of years, 2017, you'll see they ran down, or they ran up, and then they paused and broke down in 2018. And it really, there's another one. Look at ICHR, and this is a semiconductor stock, but it's in the semiconductor business. I would not suggest trading this. This is just an example, though. You can see here, it peaked up in late 2017, early 18 there, up 35-ish, and then just collapsed down to 15. And it looked like everything was going to be great, but a lot of times that happens before the market starts to tumble. So, the market followed it by about 6 months.
Yeah, and I see also MU's on here as well. It just popped up, so let's look at that one. Probably the same situation. MU down 2.1, 134,000 shares traded right now. Pre-market action not looking too great at the moment. We'll keep it on here. I'm going to remove some of these levels because we have plenty on here, but this also falls into that category Norm was just describing. Next, we also have TSM down 3.3, 153,000 shares traded. This looks like a very horrible pre-market action, pretty flat. Not a great daily chart neither. Look at this daily chart. Just looks like a foreign stock. So we might, Taiwanese semiconductor.
Taiwan semiconductor. And it's the same semi stuff. It gaps a lot, but it's not really tradable.
Yeah, if you want to watch that, you can watch something else like MU, QCOM, or something else that could trade a lot better than that. So we'll remove that one from there. Next we have is Tesla. Tesla has been so interesting. Kind of mentioned earlier, who would have thought this thing would have been trading at 186? I mean, just a couple of months ago, beginning of the year, actually, we're up in the 300s. So what insight do we have on that?
Yeah, this is the same deal. Tesla's just kind of in its own death spiral right now. And a lot of the debt is secured by Elon Musk shares. If they fall to a certain level, there might be a margin call. They've had decreasing sales. They can't hit their estimates. They've had crashes on autopilot. So it's just a whole number of things. And, in the past, he had the SEC judgment where he can't tweet on his own and it has to be reviewed by attorneys before it can go out. He would pump the stock in the past, and now he can't do that, and it's just kind of in free fall. So it's interesting. And also Morgan Stanley. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 things. Morgan Stanley came and said their worst case scenario outlook for Tesla is $10.
Wow.
So it's all kinds of crazy news. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a wild ride, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You're getting to a point where a lot of longer term investors are at break even here. And it'll be interesting to see if they hold or if it flushes out as they try to get out without really losing that much more money.
Yeah, that's definitely scary. So again, losing another 2.4 this morning. Tons of volume. It's got a good pre-market action starting right from here from 8 p.m. 8 a.m. Eastern time. It's getting some good volume. And look, as you get this volume, you're getting a nice pre-market action. So this is what we want to see. So
Yeah.
Tesla looks good. Next, we have MT. MT is not really tradable, guys. This is, I believe, a foreign company. Look at this daily chart. It's just horrible. So we're just going to move right along to the next one on here. Next, we have STM. STM is the same deal as well. Again, not tradable. Foreign company as well. Look at this daily chart. Just horrible. And also look at this pre-market action. It's just not something you want to trade. Next, we have MRCY. I don't think I've ever seen this ticker before. This one is down 2.2, 930,000 shares traded so far. It's got a good pre-market action right now, losing it a bit here, so they must be down on some news. What else do we have? What company is this?
MRCY is down on a secondary offering. So that's pretty common. They're gonna it dilutes shareholders, and at the same time, it kind of has the company signaling they think their stock might be overpriced here.
Okay, excellent. So yes, we got some movement going on here. Yeah, that could definitely be interesting. Got some levels also we could play off here. All right, so next we have last WB here down 12.4. So that's quite a bit. 324,000 shares traded so far. So it's got some good volume. Just want to look at the daily chart here. Had a nice little drop here. Looks like we had a level of support in this area here where we bounced from nicely. Came back to test it a couple of days ago and we were not able to hold. So we'll get into what kind of news is going on here. Just want to go back to see what other levels we have. When's the last time we were down here? Is this a 52-week low? And it looks like it is. Wow, this stock was trading at 140 just mid last year. Now it's at 44 bucks. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Down 12.3. Pre-market action looks a little bit flat right now. It's kind of losing some momentum and some volume. You could tell that because right in here it's just not getting a lot of movement going. So hopefully that can pick up. Norm, what's the issue with this one? Obviously something's definitely wrong.
Yeah, they've kind of got the double whammy. So Weibo is a Chinese internet provider, and they've got not only maybe some growth problems in China along with the trade war caused by the trade war, but they also released earnings, which they beat earnings, and this is why you always have to really pay attention to earnings and not just take the book by its cover. Is they beat earnings. I believe they beat revenues too, but their forward guidance was down. So the Twitter of China, there you go. So anyway, so that's kind of what's going on there.
Excellent. All right, so that's go ahead.
Nothing, go ahead. You're
All
good.
right. So that's good for us, guys. So we got some nice little drop here, down 12.2. Some good volume. Let's hope that the pre-market action gets a little better and develops a good flow here, and we could trade this either way. All right, guys. So let's see what else you guys have on your end. Norm, anything that you like that might not be on this list that we looked at?
Well, we covered Best Buy already. That popped up. I guess it disappeared now. It went under 2%. There's one more, and it's a Chinese company, SINA. They reported this morning. They're gapping down 10%. So I've got my eye on that one as well. It doesn't really have the volume right now, but I'll keep an eye to see if anything happens.
Yeah, well, what's that ticker?
SINA, November Alpha.
Oh, SINA.
Yeah.
Here we go, down to 10.4. This looks just like WB. Wow, very similar. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Chinese company. It's an online media company. They reported this morning, so it's a lot of the same stuff as WB.
Gotcha. All right, guys, let's quickly look through our NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers. Starting over here, NVCN, not much happening, pretty much a penny stock trading under a buck, 5.5 million shares traded. It is up 37%, but if you look at this pre-market action and also look at this daily chart, I mean, you don't want to be involved in anything that has some kind of history like that. So we'll bypass that one. NASDAQ ETF, then we got TVIX as well here. Volatility index obviously is probably up today with the SPY being down, as you can see. Yep, up quite a bit. Tesla, we have. Oh, let's go back to Tesla. Look at this nice pop here. So again, Tesla kind of recovering, trying to go red to green. Looks like here's your previous day close. See if it can get up there. Next, we have LOBLN. At the moment, 1 million shares traded. Seems to be a penny. Yeah, definitely a penny stock. Just cracking over a buck here. It was down. It was down for a while under this 50 cents area. So really not anything that we focus or trade. NASDAQ ETF. Let's look at AMD today. AMD is down 1.7. It's got some pretty flat pre-market action here. I might add this one on after I go through this list and get rid of some of the ones I don't like, because it'll be an interesting day for all these semiconductors. See what happens there. VIOT, not much going on, guys. No volume. And then we have Apple down here. Apple's just pretty flat right now. Wait, what's going on? I'm not getting any action on Apple. Okay, here we go. Now I loaded. So 432,000 shares on Apple, down 1.7. Again, just kind of moving pretty much with the market at the moment. Next, over on our other list, we have SANW, nothing there. OBLN, we looked at earlier, also penny stock. TNXP. TNXP is, looks like it's up quite a bit here, but again, just don't think it's anything that's tradable. I'm trying to see what else we have. Yeah, pretty crappy pre-market action, really no volume. So we'll bypass that one. EKSO at the moment, pretty crappy, no volume. INNT, also no volume, only 1,000 shares traded. TVIX volatility index, IOVA. IOVA, what's up with this one here? So we're up quite a bit, several days, making some high and lows, higher highs, higher lows, and then popping up today was 6.1. But doesn't have the volume, doesn't have good volume, only 62,000 shares traded. Just want to check the float on this one. What we got going on? So it's 84 million shares float. But again, just really could be something you could put on your side list. It looks like they must have had some news as they kind of riding up from that momentum. So again, that could be interesting, but right now the volume is not really there. Next we have TROV, not really tradable, on low volume, and also pre-market action looks horrible. This is one that, again, we talked about this one yesterday, I believe, or the day before. Pops up and then sells off. It's just, again, not really a great stock right now. AWSM, no volume, only 2,000 shares. And VIIX, nothing going on here at the moment. All right, folks, let's get into some announcements, and then we'll go over some levels. Norm, what do we have for today and this week?
Yeah, so this is Thursday. Williams Trade Review will be this afternoon, last hour of the market, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Andrew is going to be in Montreal June 22nd at the Modern Traders Summit and will be presenting on risk management. So if you're in that area or just feel the need to go to somewhere that's cooler and has a French accent, and cooler, I mean temperature, and people have French accents and speaking French, then that might be the place for you. There will be a meetup the night before, Friday the 21st, I believe. And a couple of guys, Peter will be there, William will be there, and maybe other BBT guys. So we'd love to meet you there. Of course, if you're with Bearable Traders and you use IB and DAS, you can get this $50 upgraded data package with float and a deeper book and everything for no charge. Just maybe you'll just posted the link. He'll post it in YouTube as well. Anything else I'm missing?
No,
Carlos, that you can think of?
Not that I could think of. I think that covers it. Yeah, I think that's all.
All right.
All right, excellent, guys. Let's see what you guys have on your end.
I'll throw this out too, real quick before you get into that, and I'll mention it later. But if you're watching on YouTube and you want to try the room out, Andrew traded live yesterday, so you can always go look at the recording of our pre-market show yesterday where it was Andrew's full trading morning as well at the back end of that. So you can just go back and fast forward a little bit and get right into Andrew if you don't want to listen to us setting up the day again. But also, if you're there and you'd like to try out the room, you can come over and try pre-market 24 as the promo code. AB will just put up the link, and that'll give a discount off the 2-week trial to try the room.
Absolutely. Yep. So let's get on to this one. AVP. AVP looks nasty, guys. 20 million shares traded already so far. So someone mentioned it's a buyout. So this is why we're not interested in this one. All right, what else we have? Yeah, Tesla's red to green. Did it make the move? Let's go here and see. Oh, yeah, it did. Tesla is on a nice little bounce here. Tesla, look at this play. Look at the volume, guys. Look at this thing here. Just nice ramp. We like to see that ramp, and it kind of just stay consistent. So this is good on Tesla. What else we have? Roku. Roku's been pretty fun to trade the last couple of days. Today, not doing much, pretty quiet. But look at this daily chart. And it's normal. We talked about this. We called this out. We said this thing looks like it's ready to pop. Had this pullback here, continues to just make higher highs, higher lows on the daily, and then it popped here, and now it popped up and it's holding it. So again, just on a pretty strong run here.
Yeah, when we were watching that on the daily, Carlos, that consolidation period, it might pop into one person's head if you take out the last 4 days and you start seeing that red day and you're trading on the 20th there, that last red candle, which is a doji. Maybe this has hit some kind of double top or resistance, but the fact that it could never lose that number by much when the market was just being pummeled kind of tells me over that time that maybe there was either a big or several big institutions loading up on it and didn't want to drive the price up. So they would, they'd buy, and then they'd lay back until the price dropped a little bit and accumulate until it was let break through. So
yeah, no, absolutely, just very nice, looking very strong. And again, right now opening up pretty flat, so it'll be a good one to watch in the mid morning to see what it does. But right now, pretty quiet. What else we have, guys? So next, NETS. NETS 309,000 shares traded right now. It is gapping up 37%. Right here, it looks pretty flat though. Not much really going on over the last 30 minutes or so. So again, not pretty active. Again, just looks like they might have some block trades or something creating all that volume. But again, daily chart also looks horrible, guys. This looks trading pretty much like a penny stock, although it's above $1. It's just not really tradable. Next, we have LK. LK, what is going on here? Wow, LK's been on a nice little downtrend here. Has some volume, 176,000 shares traded so far. Not a great pre-market action, guys. A lot of that volume is sitting on this one candle here, so you don't really have much going on, and it looks pretty choppy at the moment. Looks like a recent IPO, right? I don't have anything else prior than the 17. So
yeah, this is Luckin Coffee. It's a Chinese coffee shop IPO.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about this one, guys. It is on short selling restriction, but I'm not seeing anything here that that fits our criteria to trade. Let's see how it just traded yesterday, just to check it out. So a nice little downtrend here. If you have shares to short, this could have been great, but I don't know if anyone does with such a recent IPO. All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's find some levels on here. We did look at IOVA. We looked at AXSM as well. Someone mentioned that earlier. So
I'm going to throw one more out.
Yeah.
Carlos, and it needs volume, but NTAP.
NTAPs.
Yeah, they reported. So they're gapping down 9%. It doesn't quite have the volume, but it very well could by the time the market opens.
Yeah, no, I see that down quite a bit. Daily chart looks very interesting. Look at this nice drop here. So, yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that. All right, folks, let's get into this list. Let's find some level support and resistance, and let's eliminate the weak here. Let's start with LB. So LB at the moment, it is up 8.4, hit as high as 24.41, losing it a bit now here. So you can see this drop. So we'll mark that down. I have the pre-market low of the pre-market sitting at 23.05. We'll mark that down as well. Towards the bottom, plenty of levels, high and lows from the last 2 trading days. Right in here, previous day close in this area here. If we can get above back towards the high of the day, you got a nice moving average here, which I'm going to mark 25. 25.67. But then slightly below that, you have this other level here that I like. This will be 24.92, that 25 area. You have several days testing that area, opening and closing around there. So that could be a good possible level. So we'll see pre-market action right now. Pretty much dropping, but the volume is a little sporadic. You get some volume, then it dies down, so that's not good for us. We'll see if it gets better as it gets closer to the open. Best Buy is a nicey stock that opens like this often. Again, just doesn't really get good pre-market actions. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of MU, although MU is not a nicey stock. This one here up at 72.62, high of the pre-market. Towards the low, it's stuck between some levels now, high and low from yesterday in here, high from the previous day here, and then you got some lows in these areas too. So price action right in there right now. I'm gonna mark also the top over here, 74.70, and then this one all the way up here at 75.85. So but right now pre-market action is not looking great, so I'm going to remove this one. Again, I think if it hits our scanners, we'll have some levels to look at, but right now this is not really attractive. There's not much going on here that I like on the pre-market action or the volume. Baba, as you can see, oh, that's right, here we go. Baba is down 2.8. It's got some movement. I'm sure David from Connecticut is having a good time on this one. David from Connecticut is one of our long-term members here, and this is a stock that he watches often. So I'm sure he's been taking this for a nice little ride down south. Low of the pre-market 153.66. Below that, if we can lose that, let's see what we have. All right, so we have an area in here where we have several days testing this 150-ish area, so we'll mark that down. Then this nice one over here, I know it's kind of small, guys, so I'm zooming just so you can look at it. We have this 146.30 as well, so we'll mark that down. All right, so let's look what else we have. PDD. See how the pre-market action is still pretty crappy on the pre-market action. It has 210,000 shares traded, but not really creating a good pre-market action for us. I'm going to put some levels on here, but I'm probably going to remove it. I'll have it ready if it pops up into our scanners. Low of the pre-market sitting at 19.83. If we lose that, let's mark down this one over here at 16.56, and then we have this one over here at our 18.73. Just want to zoom in while I'm looking at that 18.73. So you can see clear bounce. That's a beautiful bounce. Opens up here, either headed down or headed up and back down. Most likely went down and bounced back up and went green, even green here. So that's nice. Then you have several days, just you can see opening and closing around this area. All these days here using it as support, and then all these days here using the same line as resistance. So that's a good indication for us. So that's what we have on there. Towards the top, you have the previous day close, which is a huge support and resistance. You know, you want to always look out for that, and then above that, the highs and lows of 2 days ago. So that is it right now. But I am going to remove it again. I just don't like the pre-market action at the moment. It's pretty flat for me. But we have some levels ready in case we get hits our scanners. Here's QCOM. So again, QCOM is just so difficult to trade. It's dropping now nicely. 3.1. Low of the pre-market is 66.50. What do we have towards the bottom? I see towards the top we got plenty, but towards the bottom, see if there's anything close to that price action. We do in here, it looks like around this area, October. Yep, we have some levels in here. We have this one right on here, 61.22 from this day, and then the price action is already sitting around this support right here, which is the low of the pre-market right now, is within that area. So that's what we have on QCOM. Looks like it might want to head back down and test this low of the pre-market, 66.55. Let's see if we can get some nice volume here. Here is MU. MU is probably one of the semiconductors I'm going to watch today. Maybe I'm going to add AMD as well, because the semiconductors again are pretty active. They're all trading the same way now, so you could really pick the one that you like to trade the most. 33.61 low of the pre-market, high of the pre-market sitting at 34.35, so we'll mark that down. Look how that high of the pre-market here is the same as the low from 3 days ago. Towards the top, very nice levels in here, guys. Look at the previous day close, previous low from 2 days ago, high from yesterday, high from 2 days ago. So in there you have plenty. If we can head back down to this 33.61, which is your low of your pre-market, just gonna zoom in so you can take a closer look. In here you have this nice bottom here, 32.70 off of here. Look how that line just reacts as resistance here, support here, and then below that you have another set of support and resistance in this area here, and then a beautiful drop all the way down here. I don't think we'll drop that further down, but just want to show you how you will find these levels of support and resistance. Next we have Tesla. Again, Tesla putting in a very strong move right now. Look at this nice bounce. So again, anyone getting in the pre-market thinking that, oh, it's bad news, going to keep selling off, is feeling the pain, like Brian will say. That's the pain trade, he calls it. So 186.34 low of the pre-market, high of the pre-market 197.65. So we'll mark that down, and this thing is cranking. It's got some good volume, 1.7 million shares trading. Look at this volume just coming in here. You know, you got a 5-minute candle here with 200,000 shares traded in the pre-market. That is excellent. This will be in play today. MRCI continues to sell off, and it might hit this low of 2 days ago. We have a very clean level here, low of 2 days ago right in here. I'm gonna mark the low of the pre-market now, see if it's going to lose that and head towards that next level we have there around 67, I believe 67.10 or so. And then towards the bottom, if we lose that here, we kind of have some consolidation happening, so not really a great levels to find in this area. But if we go back, if we skip this scenario here and we go back, clearly you have this days here and these days over here using that 65.81. Then towards the bottom of that, you have 63.51. You have several days, again, resistance here, resistance, and then support on these several days bouncing off of that. Towards the top, we don't have a lot of levels in here. Pretty much the next one will be the high of the pre-market or the low from yesterday. So we'll keep those two on there and see what this price action does. WB, nice drop here, 11.3, as we talked about earlier. Chinese stock, the Twitter of China, low of the pre-market sitting at 44.20. Bring this down a bit here. There we go. There it is. 44.20 low of the pre-market. See what we have. Well, it's definitely 52-week low, so that's nice. Have we been down here before? We sure have. So right in this area, going back to 2016, we clear level right here at 40.23. Then above that, we have another level in here. Just want to zoom in so you can see that 42.02, several days here and here, using that as support and resistance. So that's playing towards the bottom. Then towards the top, we really, in the recent days, we haven't had much besides the high of the pre-market right now. So we'll see. Not great pre-market action on this one at the moment, so might remove this one and just keep an eye on it in the scanners. SINA also not great volume at the moment, kind of looking like WB as well. Here's a low of the pre-market, 41.90. We'll mark that one down. Let's go back. Probably same thing, probably 2016. Looks like it's trading just like WB. Yeah, 2016. So right in this area here, we have that one. Actually, 2015. Not going to zoom in too much, guys, but 36.20, you can see that. We'll zoom in. See that on here, several bounces on here. Then you have another bounces on here around 38.85. So not going to watch this one right now. I'll have our levels ready in case it hits our scanners, but WB is definitely probably one I'll keep. But again, just pre-market action not looking too good. NTAP at the moment down 8.6. Not great volume just yet, but I do like this daily chart though, and we do have shares for sure, so we could play it both ways. High of the pre-market 61.86, low of the pre-market 60.60. So going back over here to find some levels. Well, we got a nice little level here. We got some action around 62.55, and then towards the bottom you have this very nice level in here at 59.32. You have this day bouncing from it, and also this day here, support and then resistance. Then on the bottom of that, I don't think we'll drop this low, but just in case, 57.41. Towards the top, we added 62.55, and then let's see what else we have in here. Right in here, you have this day we can mark down 64.04 right in this area, using it as resistance and then support. And then these days consolidating in here, more support over here on these days as well. All right, folks, that is what we have. Just gonna make this list a little smaller. Yeah.
GH Golf Hotel popped up on the list. It might be interesting. The 1 minute, there's not a ton of volume, but I like the 5 minute chart, and volume's starting to come in. So
yeah, this is starting to pop up. Any news on this, or just hit the scanners, or?
I have not found it yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, so they're up 2.1, $167 in shares traded right now. Yeah, it looks like they're on a
Looks
little
like a
uptrend here.
looks like a secondary offering, so it's kind of strange that it would be popping up like that. Something to keep an eye on.
Oh, absolutely. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up my secondary list of things to check out later on in the mid-morning. There we go. So let's just go run through this real quick, guys, and make this list a little smaller. So LB is interesting. We'll keep an eye on that one. I think Baba is a little higher price, so I'm going to remove this one from my list. But this is definitely in play today. QCOM for me, just a little choppy, very difficult to trade. So I'm going to just remove this one. MU, I like. I'm going to watch MU because it could have a good day depending how the market's trade today. Tesla is just on a tear here, guys. Definitely in play. Keep this one on your list. MCRY, pretty flat on the volume at the moment, but I like the 5 looks good. I like the daily. I like this drop here, so we'll keep that on there. I'm going to watch WB, although it doesn't look great right now in the pre-market action. Looks like I might want to test the low here. SINA, I'm going to remove this one for now. NTAP, I'm going to watch this one maybe later in the mid-morning alongside with GH. Guys, so that is my watch list. Andrew's going to come on now and go over his list, and then we'll see how the market open, guys. Trade safe on YouTube, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time.
Trade safe, guys. Thanks for joining us. I don't know where Andy's hat is.
We need to get him his hat.